Hello, hi. Welcome to another week of Code Cookies. This week I'm going to show you how to use a web service to retrieve data into your forms. And the last week we showed you a little JavaScript just to get you started. This week will be a little bit more advanced, so we'll show you how to trigger a web service call and to populate fields in a Zervicepoint form. So what we have on the screen here is just some fields that I've been putting in. So we have a text box for a Swedish personal number, and that's the input for the web service. So I want to type, or I want the user to type a Swedish personal number in there. And then I want to call the service to retrieve additional information about this person that you have entered. And we use the plugin we call Person Lookup Sweden, which is available which you can purchase for Zervicepoint. And it's pretty simple to use. That's why I think it's a fitting example to show you a simple web service call. All right, so we go into the admin web page and we look here and we have all the fields declared. There's nothing special with them. It's just simple text field. What I've done is I've named them in the naming convention I usually use, which is TF for text field, and then basically the identifier of the text field. I adjusted some sizes, so I made this one larger and a little tweaks like that, but nothing else. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when you develop these kinds of forms where you want web services is that you have to associate the web service with the form. So I go to the data sources section of this page, and then I just scroll through all the web services here and find the one that I want. I choose it and click add, and then it gets added here. So we have a small example here actually, which we can use. So what I usually do is that I copy this web service call, this is example, and I go into the text field that I want to associate this behavior with, which is the Swedish personal number text box, and I go to edit JavaScript and on change, because I want to trigger this after a person has entered a person number. So I paste this code in here, which I copied out from the web service example. I remove the dots, make a line break, and here we have the basic structure. So what are we looking at here? First we have the sed, which stands for which you use to access our JavaScript API. The API contains a function called call, which takes two parameters. The first parameter is the name of the web service that you want to call. And the second parameter, which is not specified here, but we'll add that later, it's the arguments. And then you close this function call, because you gotta get a promise back, and you can just put a dot on it and access the function done. And then you get to define a function that should be ran once the web service has answered. So in here, you can write code for what's supposed to happen when the web service answers. So this is just a simple line that will log out the response from the web service to the console of the browser. So we can have we can try it out. So I'm going to save this. I go back to the user web, I refresh the page, and then I'm gonna take a personal number which I found on the internet that we can use for testing. And since we did a console log here, I need to actually show the console. So in Chrome it's F12, and we show the console, and I paste this number in here, and we get nothing back actually. Let's try again. No answer. Yeah, So I know why. This is because we haven't actually sent the person number that we typed in the box into the web service. So the web service just runs without any arguments. Okay, so we need to define some arguments. And I happen to know that the parameter for social security number is called SSN for this web service. And if you're unsure, please refer to the documentation of the web service. And I can use this .val to put the value from this text field into this parameter. Now we need to send this parameter into the web service. And we could have more parameters here, like config ID perhaps. But in this case, we only send in the social security number. And I put this part in here to make sure it goes into the call of the web service. So it gets called properly. We go back to the page again. And I paste that, and we see we got some kind of answer here. So I can click on this arrow. Yeah, so we got the person here. And here's the person's address. We have all kinds of properties here. First name, given name. And this maps pretty well with what I already defined here. So what I want to happen now is that all these should be put into these text fields automatically. And I prepared some code for that actually, so you don't have to watch me type. So I added a little more here. I don't want this web service to be called more than necessary because we don't want to stress out the server. Or so what I've done was, as long as the person have written something that is more than 13 characters long, can put that to 12 actually, we will not call the web service. We will only do that if the length of the string is over 12 characters. And then we log it out in the console, and here we put the values from the response into the corresponding text fields. So the response comes back in the data variable, and data is almost always an array. So to access the first position of that array, I just put this data and hard parenthesis 0 dot first name to get what we saw here. So if we have gotten more answers, we will only get the first. But since it's a unique number, it's a hit or no hit, or a binary sort of a digital response, that's how we can that's how the answer will look like. So it's pretty safe for this web service. So we look on it again. I'm gonna just copy that person number, and boom. So we get it in here. So what have we achieved here? We have achieved the validation of the social security number, and we have automatically populated some fields. So if people are going to use this service to hire people, we get a validation of the spelling of all the names and the street address. We don't need to do that manually. Okay, so just to show you how to do some of the stuff I just prepared here, so we can do the city text field as well. So if we look on the response, which we still log out in the console, we can see that we have address city here. So let's add that so this gets automatically filled out as well. So we go into our script, and we need to know the name or identifier of this text field. So I go in here, and it's TF city. Okay, I go in here and there, back here. Okay, so I use the set API again to access the field, and I use the val method to get or to set the value. And now I'm going to set the value, so I need to put an argument in here. So it's data 0 dot, and what did we call that? It's address city. And that should work. So I'm saving now and refreshing the page. And I'm going to copy that again. Paste. And there you go. So that's what was it for today. And next time I'll show you how to put some more useful features into this web service call. And see you then.